Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to start doing Top 5 Wednesdays, which is a group on Goodreads. If you want to know more about it, I will put a link in the description. And a different theme is set each week and you pick your top 5s. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you about a book box that I started to subscribe to. I have already opened it, but I will show you everything. So it is from Prudence and the Crow. So the theme of Prudence and the Crow is vintage books, and you can choose from a variety of themes. So I picked vintage sci-fi. You fill out a questionnaire so that you give more information about you. One of the questions was, what is your favourite book? And I picked Time Out of Joint by Philip K. Dick. I don't know that it is my favourite book, but out of the sci-fi genre, I feel that that best embodies what I really like. So they sent me this book and I was very excited. The book itself was in this, which is really sweet, and the book is Philip K. Dick is Dead, Alas, by Michael Bishop, and it just sounds amazing. So it says, Philip K. Dick died in February 1982, but not the 1982 of most history books. In this 1982, America has won the Vietnam War, colonised the moon and re-elected Richard Milhouse Nixon 4 times. By the way, I did not realise that Richard Nixon's middle name was Milhouse, so as soon as I saw that, I just imagined him before Watergate discovered, just like, everything's coming up, Milhouse! Dick is remembered for his early realist novels, whilst his bitingly satirical sci-fi circulates illegally in samizdat form. But if Phil Dick is really dead, who's the bearded amnesiac who wanders into the Georgia office of an unsuccessful psychotherapist? The ghost of Philip K. Dick? Soon the seditious scribbler is making plans more bizarre than his own wildest inventions to remake reality and fix King Richard Nixon once and for all. It looks very interesting. It looks quite odd. It was first published in 1987, so it's in the latter end of vintage, but it just sounds absolutely nuts. It sounds like it's got the most ridiculous elements of Philip K. Dick and just sort of blown them up 10 times, which sounds a lot of fun. It sounds like a fun book, so I'm excited to see that. So, and they also sent me a load of other goodies. They sent me a little mini pack of Haribos, which is really nice. I ate all of them. They sent me this sticker, which is lovely. It says, "This book belongs to," and so you can stick it in a book. And they also sent me some tea. So they sent me Twinings gingerbread green tea. The other tea that they sent me is Twinings freshly picked taste of garden mint flavoured infusion. And they sent me a load of really amazing little vintage things. So this is called Space Adventure, a complete story in 50 pictures. And they also sent me a couple of stamps actually, which is likewise interesting. So there's that, which is quite nice. And there's a German stamp, and it says Deutsche Bundespost Berlin, Braunschweiger Löhe, which is, I think, just the district in Berlin. Everything came in this, which was really nice. So it just says Shakespeare's sonnets. This book was selected for Catherine on 13th of May 2016 at London Prudence and the Crow, the vintage book subscription service. And they sent me 2 badges. First says words, 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 Hamlet. The second is just a picture of our bay, Shakespeare. They also sent me, the final thing is they sent me this. So it just says Prudence and the Crow, London, issue 13th of May 2016, box number 1, and it says title, author, date and notes. So it looks like an old-fashioned library card, and you can just sort of add it, and it's a really nice way to sort of collect them, I suppose. I think for £15 a month to get a vintage book and all of that going with it, and to have someone pick something out for you, I think it's really worth it, particularly looking at the prices of some other ones. I feel that this is a very good deal. I will add, I am not being sponsored by them in any way. This is purely my own thoughts, and I'm quite excited by this. This is the first book box I've ever gotten, so yeah, I'm excited. Anyway, so now moving on to my top 5. Today the theme is top 5 summer reads. Apologies if you can hear the vacuum in the background. Flatmater's just decided to vacuum, which I shouldn't really criticise because it means I don't have to do it and I hate cleaning. So the first book I chose is a book that I read recently, which is Charlotte Street by Danny Wallace. It's about a man who helps a woman on the street, on Charlotte Street in London, with some of her bags, and is left holding a disposable camera with all this used up film in it. It's somewhat about finding her. I thought initially it sounded quite stalkerish, but it's very self-aware, it's very, very funny. I have talked about this book before in my April wrap-up, so I won't go on too much about it. It's light-hearted most of the time. There are some feels in there, but I think it's nice to have some feels. The second book I will get out of the way, I suppose, because it is quite dark. Well, when I say quite dark, it is about nuclear apocalypse. So it is On the Beach by Neville Shute, and it is an older sci-fi book, and it's set in Australia, and the rest of the world has either been completely nuked or has been taken over by the fallout from a nuclear war. And the fallout is coming towards Australia, and it's about people coming to terms with that fact. There's someone on the submarine, there's someone on land, and the government is distributing suicide pills, and it's about life and the decline of human life on the world, you know, completely brought upon itself. It is a beach read of sorts. If you want to read something sort of post-apocalyptic, I'd recommend. The third one is a lovely romance story. I don't really read romance a lot, so for me it's quite a big thing if a romance story is really good, and it is One Day by David Nichols. You might have seen the film, which has Anne Hathaway in it, playing someone from Yorkshire. It's about two people who are friends at university and sort of, you know, they obviously sort of fancy each other somewhat, but they go through their life. One ends up getting married to another person, they live in different areas, they go through hard times, you know, all this sort of stuff happens to them. It's sad. The story is told on the same day each year. It's this one date, which is the date they graduated. And so it's one day in that sense, and it's really interesting to see how much it changes year by year. But it's also that sense of one day they will be together, maybe. So it's really great, I definitely recommend it. Be ready for feels though, there's a feels warning on this one. So the second one is a modern classic. I absolutely love it, and it's called Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. This is a book about a young woman called Flora in the 1920s who ends up going to live with her aunt, I think, and several other relatives at the family farm. She is from London, she's a kind of a silly little flapper, and it's about her sorting everyone out at the farm. And it's ridiculous, it's so funny. I'm originally from Worcester, I'm not from London. Worcester is a small city, but it is backwater as hell, and I've got several relatives who live out in the country. I know people out in the country, and believe me, these people are not exaggerations. It's amazing. I'm starting to slip into my more regional accent when I talk about it, because it just makes me think about it so much. And it's an absolutely amazing read. If you have not read it, I really recommend you. I'm sure you will absolutely love it. It's so funny, and there's the old grandma who's always going on about, all she ever says is, I saw something nasty in the woodshed, and that's all she ever talks about. No one knows what happened to her. She saw something when she was a little girl, but that's all she can talk about. But it's a fantastic book, so funny, such a classic. So that is my second book. And number one, I haven't really been doing these in order of preference, but this is one that I keep coming back to. I've read it about 3 or 4 times, I think. It's beautiful, it's very easy to read, you could easily read it in a day, and it is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I hope I'm saying that right. And it is the story of 2 women growing up in Afghanistan during and after the invasion by the communists, and then the takeover by the Taliban, and they end up being 2 wives to this one man. And it is about women's struggles, it's about cultural struggles, It's about dealing with war and loss, but love and beauty, and it is so lovely. Carlo Tassoni also wrote The Kite Runner, which is also a lovely book, but I don't want to pick it as a summary read because I feel that the majority of it takes place outside of Afghanistan, and you can really, when you read 1,000 Splendid Suns, you can feel the heat coming from the walls of the houses, and you can almost sort of taste the food. It's about the struggle of women in different cultures and the issues of militancy, whether that's communism or religious oppression. But it's the perfect book to not only sit down and read on a lovely summer's day, but to also gain more insight about the world around you, which is exactly what I want in any book. So those were my top 5 for Top 5 Wednesday. Please feel free to like, and if you want to see more of my videos, just hit subscribe. But I also have an exciting announcement of something that I'm going to be running, which is Fanfic Friday. So Fanfic Friday is going to be when I read some really awful fanfic for you, because if any of you have seen the dramatic reading of My Immortal, which is hilarious, I will link it in the description. I highly recommend looking at it. You will know how bizarre some fanfic gets, and I want to make this very clear, I'm not attacking fanfic. I mean, I wrote fanfic, and I think fanfic is an amazing way of engaging with a story you love, of exploring the world around you. I think it's a really great tool, but bad fanfic is amazing. So if you want to just come and laugh hysterically with me, and I probably will be falling around laughing while reading it, then please join me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.